Thanks, Simone. So as I said, afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending today's Climate Cafe, all about growing and funding your sustainability ideas within your organizations through a really exciting new program called the H&F Green Innovators program. I can see lots of faces that I recognize, but for those of you new to our Climate Cafes, these are a series of webinars hosted by the climate change team H&F to support local groups, resident staff to take climate and nature action locally. And these are just really good spaces for us to share opportunities with you guys, information as well, and for also for you to ask us questions. So here's today's agenda. We're going to hear from our partner organisations on the programme, the Green Innovators programme, about who they are and how they're involved. First, we're going to hear from Hannah Lord, who's Stakeholder Engagement Manager at Upstream NEXUS, about their role in the programme and also their wider work to grow our local green economy. Sadly, Hannah can't make it, so I'm going to share a video that she shared with us of her part. And then secondly, we're going to hear from Manal Patel. She's Project Officer at Undaunted, and she's going to further set the scene with an introduction to all the innovative work happening right here in our White City Innovation District. And then we're going to hear from Gosbert Chagula, who's co-founder of Startup Discovery School, and they are our delivery partner for the H&F Green Innovators programme. And then after our lovely speakers, we're going to have a Q&A about the programme. And then finally, I'm just going to share a few more funding opportunities if you've got these ideas for your organisations around sustainability, and then some further ways just to stay involved with the council around climate action. So now I'm just going to, hopefully you can all hear this and this works. This is Hannah Lord, who is from Upstream NEXUS, telling us about their role in the programme.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah Lord, Stakeholder Engagement Manager at NEXUS. At NEXUS, we're proud to be part of the Hammersmith and Fulham Green Innovators programme, an initiative that brings together local talent, bold ideas, and a shared commitment to climate action. It's all about empowering innovation that's rooted in community and focused on sustainability. So what is NEXUS and what do we do? NEXUS is a partnership between Hammersmith and Fulham Council and Imperial College London. We were born out of the borough's industrial strategy in 2017. Since then, we've been building a thriving innovation ecosystem, connecting people, places, and organizations across science, tech, and digital creative industries. We're here to help accelerate climate innovation, foster collaboration, and help local businesses and residents thrive. In the Green Innovators programme, NEXUS plays a key role by offering access to networks, from local businesses to industry roundtables, strategic support, helping innovators connect with the right people at the right time, and of course, visibility, amplifying the work of local changemakers through our platforms and events. You may have seen us at events like Jaw Drop or the Deep Tech Network, but behind the scenes, we're also making one-to-one connections every day, quietly helping ideas grow into impact. We believe that strong local connections are the foundation of sustainable change, and through the Green Innovators programme, we're excited to keep building those connections together. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Hannah. And hopefully everyone could hear that okay. I'm now just going to pass on to Manal, who's from Undaunted. So Manal, please just share your screen.
Can everybody see my screen okay?
We can, thank you.
Perfect. Hi everyone. So my name is Minal and I'm a former clean tech innovator who has now joined the Undaunted team, delivering on one of their innovation programs. Undaunted are supporting the Green Innovators program through pitch practice, support, mentoring, and coaching. Now, at Undaunted, we're tackling climate change with innovation, but what does that mean? What is innovation? So innovation is creating and the use of new ideas or methods. So you can see a picture of one of the London buses here that you've probably used at some point, and this now runs on hydrogen. That's an innovation. We have the ULEZ zones in place in London, and you'll now see electric cars on the road. That is also innovation. The current systems that we have in place, if we continue the way it is, we're going to face more catastrophic impacts of climate change. We've already had the recent examples with the 2 heat waves that we've had recently, as well as signs of water drought within the UK too. And this is only set to amplify if we do not use innovation to tackle these challenges in climate change. At Undaunted, we want to make it easy for climate innovators to start with an idea scribbled away in their notebook all the way to growing their business, which is also called scaling, so that they are able to have their innovations and products for us to use every day, like the example in the hydrogen buses in London. We've been doing this for the past 12 years, building this climate innovation ecosystem. We do this through a number of ways, where we support innovators at any point in their journey. We want to make it easy. We do this through entrepreneurship support, incubating startups, which means that we provide startups with the support that they may not have easy access to, such as connections to people who will want to put money towards their business and help them grow their business. Also nurturing the network of the climate ecosystem within London and globally too. And we want to make connections and work with others. This is an example of our annual showcase event, which is open to the public, and it's held every year at the prestigious Royal Institution in central London. And this is this day is called a demo day, and it's part of one of our innovation programs called the Greenhouse. Similar to this Green Innovators program, we provide a number of support to innovators, and at the end of the program, they pitch for investment of around £15,000. And we bring every single person within the innovation ecosystem together, whether it's public sector, public audiences like yourself, innovators, as well as those who will want to fund the innovators, such as investors. We don't just operate in London, we are part of a global network that we're growing every day. We want to practice what we preach and support innovations, not just within the UK ecosystem, but globally. And there's a lot to learn from members who are across the world. We're trying to help innovators be able to test their ideas and make sure that they're really solving the problem for the customers that they're trying to attract. Now, what does this mean in numbers? So there's 165 companies within our portfolio at Undaunted that we've supported. Over 88% of them are successful into growing their business to launch their products and services. And in total, they've raised $1 billion collectively so far, which is quite substantial, and created over 1,600 jobs. So it's not just about building a product and tech, it's also about job creation and a thriving economy too. Here are some of our innovator stories that we have and companies. You can actually click onto the slide to be able to see all the different types of innovations that we've helped in their journey along the way. And you can also search for different innovations yourself as well. Now, one of the most prominent innovative companies that have come through our portfolio is Notepla. And so Notepla had started at Imperial as graduate innovators, and they had come onto a number of Undaunted programs to now create a solution which is a bio-based material which is alternative to single-use plastic. So they're trying to eradicate single-use plastic. If you've gone to Wimbledon recently and had some strawberries and cream, you'd have noticed that there's a plastic lining in the containers, and those are from Notepla. So another example is at the London Marathon, they have these pods, which you can see in the image there, and they're called Oho pods, and they're purely made out of seaweed and water and really easy to consume, so we can eradicate any single-use plastic bottles during marathon races. And this business has also been recognized as an Earthshot Prize winner in 2022. which is recognised by the Prince of Wales as well. So there have been some incredible innovations that have come through, and we're continually there to support them at every stage. In the face of climate change, we are undaunted. If you'd like to find out more, you can feel free to reach out to our email, or you can scan the QR code to connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you. And now I'm going to pass over to my colleagues at the Startup Discovery School.
Thank you. Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Yamina. Thank you very much for the presentation. I'll share my screen. Okay, hopefully everyone can see that. Apologies for any background noise.
That's great. Thanks, Gus.
Brilliant. Yeah, sorry, apologies for any background noise there. So, just in terms, my name's Gus Butchigula. I'm one of the directors and co-founders of Startup Discovery School. Just in terms of what we do, we ultimately build programs which support businesses. We train, invest, provide capital and connections for growing businesses which go on to tackle some of the world's biggest challenges. And we've had the pleasure of working directly with the council before, but also working with the likes of Imperial College at the same time too. So it's great to see some of our great allies back on the call here today, and great to meet some of the key stakeholders and community members who've joined us as well. Just over the last few years, we've been around for about 5 years. Prior to that, I'd spent the last 10 years supporting and investing in new technology, which is ultimately tackling things around energy and such. And it's great to kind of have this journey continue with Startup Discovery School. Just in terms of who we worked with previously, we've worked with the likes of HSBC, Samsung, a number of local authority partners in London and beyond, as well as government as well. Now, I guess my whole premise today is really about this kind of, I almost find this kind of change that we all face, which is what we know versus what we care about. And they can be two different things. And on the left hand, I think what we know, sometimes what we care about. On the left, what we know is we understand the global challenges of climate change, a transition to net zero, and also a lot of big global conversations which are ongoing around this topic right now. However, in our day-to-day experience, there can often be a bit of a gap. So we know the big challenges we face, but on day-to-day, the big challenges of this moment right now, I put bins. Bins because they're indicative of change. You know, someone once said to me that if you talk about climate policy, it goes over most people's heads. If you introduce a new bin for recycling, you get complaints. And it's all about this idea of what we know, the big problems we face, but how do they relate to our day-to-day lives? You know, bins, recycling, importance of education. You know, right now is the summer holidays, which can be a real challenge for parents as they look for things for their children to do, as well as the cost of doing just that. Caring for our loved ones and elderly. These are challenges for right now. Importance in the local area, Hammersmith and Fulham, the areas and the neighborhoods, the change they're undergoing. How do we keep the cost of living manageable for everyone? So again, there's this idea of what we know the big challenges are, and then there's our day-to-day lives. And hopefully what we like to do is bridge that gap. We like to think about climate innovation and change and entrepreneurship through a lens of what's happening to me locally and the opportunities that creates. In terms of some of the programs we've run previously or currently running, we're running a program called Just Transition Program. It's currently live right now. That program is focused on supporting entrepreneurs who are ultimately enabling a just transition to net zero. So we think about the changes that need to happen across society. We're investing and supporting in businesses which are enabling that change. That is a national program, but centered here in London. We've also worked with the likes of Islington. Even a few months ago, we looked at Islington and worked with them around looking at housing in Islington. Now, the housing in Islington, the issue around climate there is that the poorest or the most vulnerable are the ones who are facing the impact of climate change right now, not by 2050 or 2030, but right now. Housing which is too hot in the summer or even in increasingly warm summers as we're having, but too cold in the winter or impossible to heat in an economic way. We focused on connecting Islington Council and ran a competition which connected them to entrepreneurs and innovators who have solutions, and giving those entrepreneurs and innovators a chance to test new technology in partnership with the council and on their housing stock. Now, this is pictures from our last program we actually ran a pilot of with Imperial, and we hosted it over at the White City Innovation District. And that program was the Green Together program. And in that program, we looked to support businesses and on social enterprises, charities who are working within West London on challenges which are unique to the geography of both Hammersmith and Fulham, Ealing, Hounslow, etc. And we brought together 10 change makers who got access to training, connections, and most crucially, grant funding. Now, our proposition, or what we're offering today, is the Green Innovators program. This is a program focused on Hammersmith and Fulham for organizations, businesses, charities. It may be community-based organizations who are ultimately tackling an element of Hammersmith and Fulham's challenges around net zero and climate change. Now, in terms of the specifics around the program, we support organizations who have got an idea. So you may work on a business, you may work in a business, charity, council, have a startup, or just have a green idea you want to move forward. If you have a green idea you want to move forward, come to us, let's talk. This isn't just for startups, so it's really for anyone who is trading or looking to trial a new business idea which is focused on sustainability. The idea has to be practical, so it could be anything from improving waste collection, it could be policy-wise, transport or procurement practices, and it has to be real world. So how can you implement your idea in the real world? Is there a chance for you to take that idea and turn it into reality? Now, in terms of what we're looking for, our eligibility is you have to have applying as part of a registered or operational entity. What does that mean? That means you could apply as a business, working on internal sustainability efforts, not-for-profits, social enterprises, community organizations, and startups. You have to be based in Hammersmith and Fulham or registered in Hammersmith and Fulham, and you must be available to attend 4 workshops in September 2025, so just not too long from now. Your idea must align with Hammersmith and Fulham's climate and ecology strategy, which will give you a bit of a flavour of, and you must have permission from your manager or organisation, if applicable, to take part during working hours. Now, just in terms of that last point, if you are a small organisation, such as one person, obviously you are your own manager, you can decide whether to get involved. That's just a note for bigger organisations. In terms of what you need to be doing, you need to be tackling one of these 7 problems. You could be tackling one, clean, affordable energy, low carbon transport, circularity, green spaces, healthier air, green skills, or stronger communities. We will share this document so you've got access to it. The reason we have advertised it this way is because what we want is, sometimes people don't think they're working on a sustainability issue until they see perhaps a challenge they're responding to. We encourage applications from as wide a range of people as possible. So what you'll get if you join the program, which kicks off in September, applications are now live, 3 in-person workshops in September, approximately 4 hours a week worth of work. So that includes about 2 hours in a workshop and 2 hours extra homework. A pitch night to showcase your ideas, personalized coaching and peer learning, so a chance to learn from experts, but also learn from others who are in your group. So you'll be joining a group, you won't just be individual. A shot at £3,000 in cash and in-kind support, and visibility and connections in Hammersmith and Fulham's green economy. In terms of timeline, applications have been open since the 25th of June. Deadline is just over 2 weeks from today, so on the 18th of August. We've got workshops that kick off early September and pitch night early October. This time of year is obviously a crucial part of the year when talking about climate change on the horizon. Big picture, we have an oncoming COP, as well as a whole raft of events kicking off from September, which is discussing climate change. And what we want to do with this program, we think the issue of climate change is huge. However, Hammersmith and Fulham as an area faces challenges right now. This program is all about supporting those who've got ideas and solutions. So join the program if you think that you could gain a lot from the program, as well as you've got an idea that you want to bring to life. Follow the QR code, which is on the screen right now, and the website we will pass you in the chat so you can check it out now. And could I ask Anshita to put that website in the chat now? And thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Goss, and thanks to our speakers, Hannah and Minal. I don't think there's any questions written in the Q&A box, but I'm sure we have questions about the programme. So do just raise your hand and come off mute and ask your question. if you feel more comfortable to put it in the chat, then do just do that. But thank you. We've got Fiona, then Pascal. Thanks, Fiona.
Hi, do your ideas have to be, I have an idea which Hope is aware of, which links in with the council around circularity and reusing or separating, in my case, plastic waste and making it available. There's an example in Sydney called the reverse garbage, where stuff that could be reused is on site and people go to it, they pay for it but at a reasonable price, but it means it's not going to landfill, it is being reused for arts and crafts and so on. But I haven't spoken to anybody in the council about it. Would I need to do that before applying?
No, not at all. We'd love to get please submit your idea, and the rest of the team will take a look, and what we will do is sift through applications and invite people on a rolling basis. So no, I encourage an application. That sounds interesting.
Pascal, hey, thank you for your question.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Pascal. I currently work in Kensington and Chelsea, but also in Hammersmith and Fulham in one of the schools based in that particular borough. We have a project that we would like to start up based on our model that we did in Kensington and Chelsea. Is that something that you would support?
Wow, I love that. So you're working in Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, but you're also working. No,
So,
I'm not.
so
I'd say yes. I'd encourage an application.
yeah, I mean,
watch Hope's
because I
reaction.
heard that you said, oh, you need to be based in Hammersmith and Fulham, but I'm not sure I understand. Is it the organization itself or the project?
Yeah, the organisation. So and we'd assume then the project would be in the borough as well. So if the school that you're also working in is based in H&F, then you can definitely apply. It's just the organisation. It's all about supporting our local organisations, and those projects will then be in the borough. Sometimes it can span the borough. So hopefully, I think you mentioned that it's 2 schools and one of them is based in H&F. So I would then still encourage you to apply.
Yeah, because our organizations, I literally just created a CIC by guarantee, but I registered it in not in your borough, obviously. So if that doesn't mean that I can't apply. I just wanted to see first if that's not going to be an issue or not. But the project that we are working with a school based in Hammersmith and Fulham.
Yeah, and then I think that would actually Hope. Let me defer.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know what? This is actually a bit of a grey area, but I'd say definitely. I think if the project is going to be delivered with an organisation in the borough, so if it's a school based in the borough, I think definitely apply. I think this is a bit of a grey area because actually we didn't really think about schools as an organisation, but of course they are. It was more targeting around our business and kind of charity groups.
No, sorry,
let me just have a bit of intent.
Yeah, sorry, I just want to clarify. So I am a not-for-profit and I support the school with this green project. So we've been working with them for the last 5 years, but we started, we're in a transition of, because we just started to a new CIC by guarantee so that we can just do another project. So basically we are in transition. So this is why I kind of like joined this, because it's actually a new startup. But at the same time, yeah, because I heard that we needed to be based in Hammersmith and Fulham, that's why I wasn't sure if we are eligible. If it's
Thank you, Pascal. Yeah, so let's take this offline, because I think we want to support projects that are being delivered in the borough. That's kind of the ultimate aim. That why we saw it as important as with organisations based in the borough, is because we knew that then be implemented in the borough. So if it's a partnership basis, then that makes sense. But let's I'll drop you an email, Pascal, and
thank you. Appreciate it.
I think Simon, did you have a question as well?
Yes, it was very similar to Pascal's, but I think I'll speak to you guys offline if that's okay.
Thanks, Simon. Does anyone else want to kind of share their thoughts as to whether they're going to apply, if they kind of want to share their ideas with the Startup Discovery School team to see if that would kind of be something they'd be looking for, or any questions around the application process or what we'd be looking for.
Yeah, can I say one thing? The emphasis of this program is really kind of localism, right? And a few years ago we had the pleasure of kind of working on something which wasn't exactly this, but it's similar, but it was in the southwest in Exeter. And for those familiar with the southwest, obviously there's it has a large coastline, and you get a lot of kind of community projects focused on the ocean, and it was really interesting to see. And what we were quite eager to do there was encourage local solutions for problems, which I remember there was a community where there's a small island off the coast of Cornwall, and I remember they had every day a group of students travel to the UK on a boat. I was stunned that even happens. But their whole issue was around kind of sustainability and boats and such, and it's something which just wouldn't happen in Hammersmith or Fulham, despite the fact you guys are next to the Thames. But I think what we really want to encourage is really just local ideas. There is no idea that is silly, unconnected. I think we've been we're quite aware of language, and sometimes when you use the word kind of startup, if you lead with it, it can make people feel their idea, oh, it's not technology focused, so why? But we do want to encourage, and we've tried, and in our efforts to make it as wide as possible, perhaps we're causing a bit of confusion around who's eligible. I'd rather have the conversation and say maybe it won't fit than rule yourself out. So any ideas do come forward. We're always
definitely. Thanks, Goss. And actually, the kind of remit is if your organisation is based in or operating in the borough. So if your organisation operates in, then that's all good. So yeah, like hopefully that works with you two, but we'll definitely continue the conversation. I'm just seeing Fiona's shared her idea. Yeah, and we know that it'd be amazing to have projects around air pollution, because we know this is a kind of a major issue facing the borough. If anyone else does have questions, Anshita, it'll be your email that people direct questions to. Is that the case?
Yeah, sure. I can drop my email. Yeah.
Pascal's just asked another question in the Q&A box. So, can the project be a joint one with two? Not. Sorry, Pascal. Can you ask your question out loud? I think just to clarify that, if that's okay.
Sorry, I meant not for profit. It didn't actually, right? So if, for example, like we were to have a joint project with two organizations, is that okay? Or does it have to be one organization only?
I think given this is quite time intensive, a collaboration, so long as it's based in the borough, the organizations are operating in the borough, I think I would encourage that. It would just be, I would defer to Goss in terms of like the continuation of the workshops, whether that should be like one organization or one person representing the project. But Goss, do you want to answer that?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think what we do is kind of adopt I can't say there's a fixed way. I think what we want to ensure is that organizations involved in a project get access to the educational workshops and naturally the expertise. So maybe it's about nominating a lead. We'd see if we would have someone leading the participation, and they'd have a secondary person who could attend with them, and maybe that would be the two representatives of if it is a partnership. And that's the way I see. We are looking for about 5 organizations. That doesn't mean 5 people, but 5 organizations, or 5 representatives of the final organizations who will go into this pilot program.
Thanks, so, yeah. Really good questions, everyone. If we don't have any others, do just direct your questions to, maybe we do. Sorry, I've just seen the Q&A box. Okay, no, that's Pascal saying thank you. Well, thank you, Pascal, for your questions. So I've just got a few other funding opportunities that I just kind of like to share with you guys, because beyond the Green Innovators program, we know of a few more that are coming up. So as I said, we'll obviously share the details of how to sign up, the recording of this and the slides, and we'd really encourage you to share this with your networks as well. So here's just a few more funding opportunities. So there's the Viola Sustainability Fund, and this provides like cash sponsorship, in-kind resources, or even staff volunteers for nonprofits, community groups, and also individuals to kind of, if they've got an idea for sort of transforming their local environment and community. There's the GLA Green Roots Fund, which is for projects kind of improving green, blue spaces, infrastructure in London. You can actually get up to £10,000 for that grant. Then there's obviously the National Lottery Awards as well. And their Environment Award specifically, which that link takes you to, supports community groups with anything from kind of smaller funds, like £300 up to £20,000 for bigger projects. That's a good one. And then we've also launched our own kind of H&F Hive, which is through the Space Hive platform. And this is a crowdfunding platform where you can submit your project to the Hive, and it's match funded by the council. And we kind of help promote that with as well. And there's a series of kind of launches for that for each organization that gets put on the platform. So I would just click that link, and that shows you all the details in terms of deadlines. And there are some other programs if you're a business. There's the Green Growth Programme, which is led by Small Business Britain, and that's kind of a 6-week scheme, all about like upskilling in sustainability for your business. It's a real kind of professional development programme that's obviously it's free to join. And there is also the High Streets Beyond Waste, which is an amazing programme delivered by London. And London are London's kind of circular economy organisation. And this is specifically actually aimed at high street food and drinks businesses specifically. And it's aimed at cutting waste and then becoming more circular. And what that's all about is advice from experts and also grants of up to £5,000. It's just some of the kind of savings and nice examples of businesses who've gone through that programme. Some funding opportunities, and more broadly, here are some other examples of things you can get involved with in general through the council in terms of climate action. Some of you might have joined us last week for our previous Climate Cafe, which was all about our very own volunteer-led community energy co-op in the borough, and that's H&F Community Energy. And this is allowing residents to take a really active role in investing and also deciding where solar power gets installed on community spaces. And excitingly, they've just installed solar panels on a special educational needs school, Jack Tizard in White City. And the shares for this have now opened, and you can invest actually you can be a £1 member, but if you're a resident, you can invest from £50 by the 1st of September. So it's a really exciting way for you to kind of get involved and also have your say in community energy on a local kind of green energy transition. And then you can also invest in our own H&F Green Investment Scheme, and that kind of allows you to support local climate adaptation, mitigation projects, everything from greening our streets, cycle hangers, and you can make a good return on that at the same time. You can just click that link to explain more of the details. You can also share our H&F Healthy Home service, which offers free support for eligible residents, and the support ranges from energy efficiency advice to grants and debt advice. So you could share that with a friend or neighbour who might be eligible, and all the eligibility criteria is just on that link. Lots of links, we'll share them afterwards. And if you're an employee of a business or organisation in H&F, you can join our Climate Alliance, and that's local organisations who are making a real pledge to take climate action in the borough. And I've actually seen, I think, QPR, the community, you are an organisation and part of the network, and you're here today. And what's really exciting about the Green Innovators programme is that we're going to be recruiting all of these new businesses into the Climate Alliance and then connecting them up with the broader network. And the pitch night for this, which is that really exciting kind of Dragon's Den style night in October, we'll be inviting all of our Climate Alliance members to take part because they've been supporting us by donating, for example, in-kind awards for the winners. So we've got things like co-working space from some of our exciting partners, all to be announced soon. So that's really exciting. And another nice part of being part of the Climate Alliance. And then finally, you can subscribe to our newsletter, which pulls together all of the events, updates, grants that we know about, and that we're sharing everything from come and plant our one of our new tiny forests to these information webinars. So thank you, everyone. I don't know whether I noticed one more question. The list of funding, exactly, Pascal. Yeah, I'll share all of these funding opportunities that I've just shared, as well as the links to Green Innovators Programme, along with the recording and the slides afterwards to everyone who's signed up. So thank you, everyone, for being here today. Hopefully that was, we've answered some of your questions, and if we haven't, please direct them to Ankshita, and I really encourage you to apply and share it with anyone that you do know who might be interested in applying. So thanks, everyone, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.